Now, all 5 executive positions of the ANC Peter Mokaba region in Limpopo were elected uncontested at the party's 9th regional conference in Polokwane. Regional party chairperson John Mpe retained his position to lead the executive for another 3 years. The elected leadership is seen by many to be only made of supporters of the radical economic transformation faction of the ANC. However, party provincial spokesperson Donald Selamolela dismissed allegations that ANC members in the region are divided over the so-called RET and CR22 factions. For more on this, let's bring in political analyst Elvis Masoga. A very good day to you. Thank you so much for making the time. Of course, the conversation about the regional elective conferences is national, but let's just zone in on Limpopo for now. All 5 executive positions of the ANC Peter Mokaba region in Limpopo elected uncontested. What does this mean for the region?
Yeah, firstly, my humble greetings to you, Desiree, and all the viewers of SABC News. Yeah, it's to be quite specific. I just want to say that it was expected that the incumbent regional chairperson and even the executive mayor of the Polokwane municipality, John Mpe, was destined to be re-elected. There seemed to be, cohesion and unity in relation to who they wanted within the Peter Mokaba ANC region. So there was no any expectation of a contest in light of that. But one thing that must be corrected, because there's a persisting, mythical falsehood, circulating around the country that a particular victory in the Peter Mokaba ANC regional conference seemed to signify a victory for Ramaphosa or a victory for Elvis Masoga. That is not necessarily the case. Because if you have been aware, post-1994, Limpopo ANC has been reflecting a very unique, extraordinary factional dynamic that does not necessarily, relate to national dynamics at all. And I heard, even in the media, some people saying the faction that won the Vembe ANC regional conference, the Sekhukhune ANC regional conference, and even right now, the Peter Mokaba ANC regional conference seem to be a faction that is aligned to the RET or even the CR17. That is not necessarily the case. In Limpopo, there's this unique political, situation whereby factional dynamics reflect the dynamics in Limpopo, do not necessarily reflect political national loyalties. And that's what I can reassure people. It's not necessarily a win for Ramaphosa or a win for Elvis Masoga. It's actually a win for the ANC in Limpopo, because factionalism in Limpopo has got a way of, deepening, political contestations within the province, but not necessarily to the benefit of a particular national leader.
But you can't blame pundits for having that kind of view, since all of these activities lead up to the main national conference next year, where a new leader for the African National Congress will be chosen.
Yeah, you'll agree with me, Desiree, that, more often than not, myths, conspiracies and gossips are more impressive and attractive. That's why so many people are inclined, to follow where the myth or rumor or a gossip is blowing. But if you delve clinically into objective political reality, you will realize that even post-1994, the Limpopo ANC has got a very unusual or a unique, disposition of, experimenting with a kind of factionalism that does not necessarily, boils into a national preference of a particular leader. And the reading that is being made by so many different people is that the RET faction seem to be dominating in Limpopo. The implication being that Ramaphosa is losing ground in Limpopo. And that is not necessarily the case, because even right now, the 2 dominant factions that are in Limpopo, is not that easy to can associate any of the faction with Ramaphosa or with Elvis Masoga. So it's not necessarily the case. I'm saying this necessarily because I've been clinically observing and analyzing political dynamics in the province for more than a decade. And I can reassure you that the victory in the Peter Mokaba ANC Regional Conference is not necessarily a victory for a particular national leader. Neither Ramaphosa nor Ace Magashule has to celebrate in relation to the victory that has been registered in that conference.
So what kind of pointers should we be looking at in relation to the result? The ANC in eThekwini Regional Conference postponed their election because they were saying that they did not meet the 70% threshold that is required for a conference to go ahead. Is there still massive political support in the Limpopo province for this party?
Yes, you know, it's, remember, I've been judging by the recent municipal elections. The ANC Limpopo is a leading ANC structure when it comes to the political support base of the ANC. Recently, in the 2021 municipal elections, they acquired nearly 70% of, you know, the provincial vote, the ANC. But compare it to other provinces, the situation is dire. And I'm correct to say that the ANC in Limpopo remain the leading bastion of political support for the ANC nationally. Even electoral trends can attest to that. But lastly, I think for people to understand how factional dynamics are unfolding in Limpopo in the ANC, you have to pay attention to what the ANC chairperson in the province, Chupuma Tabata, said last night, because he was appealing to members to understand that they've got only one party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and he even implored and even warned members to desist, leveling any ounce of disrespect or undermining on the party president, because Ramaphosa is the president of the ANC and he must be respected. So in light of that, it was quite clear that those who think that a particular faction is winning to the benefit of a particular national slate, they are missing the point. Chupuma Tabata captured the mood in the ANC in relation to their preference. Right now, you can't even tell as to how will the ANC in Limpopo vote in the coming national conference of the ANC. They've got a way in Limpopo of, experimenting with their factional dynamics, but not to the benefit of a particular national leader. You might even be surprised that, because as people are saying RET faction is dominating in Limpopo, you might be surprised to realize that all the factions in Limpopo might throw their weight behind President Ramaphosa. So it might surprise so many people.
In fact, we asked our viewers to take part in this conversation today, just asking them if these elective conferences will bring about the unity that the ANC is seeking. And let's take a look at some of the tweets that have come through. IH Nazo is saying it's only a compromise that can be achieved because gone are the days of true comradeship and revolutionaries, committed servants of the ANC. Current ANC have a membership decay, few bad apples who believe in romanticizing corruption at all costs. Temba Tsubuka says, hi, good morning, Afshin, to everyone. It will take more than a regional conference for the ANC to rebuild the unity in the party. They must start by dealing with the issue of corruption. Corruption coming up once again there. And the Constitution first saying unity in the African National Congress is what North Korea is to South Korea. Well, the two will never coexist. These conferences are brewing divisions. Each is coming with a divisive slate. In the Eastern Cape, the regional conferences are pushing for a totally corrupt slate to take over from bad one. Well, Ndada Masoga, your thoughts? Corruption just keeps coming up. The last one even taking it to the extreme, saying in the Eastern Cape, they're vouching for corruption.
Remember, 4 or 5 successive national conferences of the ANC resolved, unequivocally that they must get rid of corruption within the ANC ranks and within government. And what the Ramaphosa administration is doing in pursuing a very brutal war on corruption is exactly what the ANC has resolved on. So the most dominant question is, should the ANC structure support their party president Ramaphosa in fulfilling the mandate of the ANC to get rid of corruption? And that's why I'm saying that if you want to understand factional dynamics in Limpopo, you must be aware that they might unfold, but at the same time being aware that our president is fulfilling the very same mandate of the ANC of fighting corruption. Yes, corruption is collapsing the ANC, is paralyzing the ruling party, but the president's administration is doing its best, to can root out corruption within the ranks of the ANC and government. So other people, they don't understand this dynamic. The mere fact that there are factions in the ANC does not necessarily imply that they are against President Ramaphosa's fight against corruption. And I think that is a point that people must understand, because at the end of the day, ANC members, before they can vote, they will have to ask themselves this question: is the current President Ramaphosa fulfilling the mandate of the ANC in as far as political responsibilities are concerned? That's how the ANC can decide whether they re-elect him or they remove him from office. But on the basis of factional dynamics, I don't think it helps at all. A simple example: the so-called RET factions might win regional conferences in Limpopo, but only to be surprised that when it comes to the ANC in Limpopo's preference for the national conference, they might even vote for the president. So that is a dynamic many people are missing. It doesn't imply that if one faction in Limpopo wins an elective conference, then that win is for the president or against the president. That's where we are misreading the situation.
So last week, when the mother body held its last NEC meeting last Friday, they gave an instruction for provinces to hold their conferences by March. Is this yet another indication that it's proving really difficult to finalize these conferences?
No, absolutely, Desiree. Remember, we have got plus or minus 4 provinces of the ANC who are currently without a full-time provincial chairperson, including Mpumalanga, Western Cape, and even Free State, if not mistaken. So in that kind of a situation, the mother body at national must come in with an iron fist to say, you must hold your elective conference by not later than this date. And that is, that is the wisdom of having a senior structure. When subordinate junior structures are not doing their work, then the senior structure must come in with an iron fist and instruct, subordinate structures, to fulfill the mandate of their political party. But I'm not quite sure in relation to Limpopo, because the political term of office of the ANC Limpopo expires in 2023, if not mistaken, because remember, provincial structures of the ANC have got their lifespan of 4 years in terms of ANC constitution. So I'm not sure whether that directive from the Tree House, does it also apply to the ANC Limpopo, because in terms of ANC constitution, the Limpopo ANC must go to its elective conference in 2022. But the other provinces, yes, they must go for an elective conference because their lifespan is long overdue.
Is it 3 years or 4 years?
No, 3 years right there. Yeah, the constitution has been amended, I think, 4 or 6 years ago. The constitution has been amended of the ANC. Previously, it was 3 years for provincial structures. But 4 years or 6 years back, the ANC amended its constitution to say provincial structures must have a lifespan of 4 years, and the regional executive committees have got a lifespan of 3 years. So right now for the provinces is 4 years, and for the national structure is 5 years.
Oh, I'm the one who's a bit behind here. But we were saying earlier that the purpose of these conferences is to direct attention into the national conference that takes place next year. But obviously we don't have this conversation in a vacuum. It's to determine the authority that the African National Congress still has or doesn't have. The latest local government elections indicated that their support for this party nationally is waning. But the other goalpost that we're looking at is the 2024 national elections. What sort of conversation, as you watch these national provincial elective conferences take place, what sort of indicators are you seeing? Will the ANC still remain in power in 2024, or will we see a different South Africa?
No, Desiree, thanks for that very much important question. And let me clarify something highly important. You know, when it comes to municipal elections, people must understand that they are exclusively predicated on local issues and dynamics. So the loss of support for the ANC in the recent municipal elections was actually a brutal judgment on the leaders of the ANC at local level. It was not a brutal judgment on national leaders at all. That's why even since 1994, when you compare national elections vis-a-vis municipal elections, you'll find a very different, unique trajectory or trend when it comes to voting behavior. When it comes to municipal elections, ordinary people who vote are concerned about, local issues, whether does our councillor attend to us? Does our mayor or councillor, effect service delivery for our benefit? So usually when they vote during municipal elections, they have in mind their councillor or their mayor. They don't even think about their president or their deputy president. So that's why you find a different trajectory when it comes to voter behavior during municipal elections and national elections. But coming to national elections, that's when citizens judge their national leaders. So I'm surprised people are saying the loss of support for the ANC in the recent municipal elections, it's a brutal judgment on President Cyril Ramaphosa. They are clinically missing the point at all. Ramaphosa has got nothing to do with whatever percentage that the ANC got in the municipal elections, because people who voted, communities are judging their councillors and their mayors, whether are they delivering services to them? Are they effecting, a better life for them? So that's why you find the situation. But when it comes to national elections, the good image of a national leader counts very much when it comes to national elections. But when it comes to municipal elections, the good image of a councillor or a mayor counts very much on how people vote during local government elections. But last important point, Desiree, corruption is no longer paralyzing the ANC, but is annihilating the liberation movement. All ANC structures and members, if they still want to see the glorious liberation movement still governing South Africa, they must support any leader in government and the ANC to fight corruption. Because you can even observe that many people who didn't go and vote are very much concerned about the dangers of corruption. They are unemployed because of corruption. They are suffering because of corruption. They don't have jobs because of corruption. So many things they are losing because of corruption, because billions of rands are lost to our country due to corruption. So if the ANC members are not careful, they don't fight corruption, they don't support their leader in fighting corruption, they might kiss government goodbye.
Dr. Masoga, thank you so much for talking to us today. Of course, it's a conversation we'll continue to have as the process unfolds nationally, even though today we were just talking specifically and some more, but about the outcomes of the Peter Mokaba region. But the ANC in Mpumalanga is still without a provincial chairperson since the election of David Mabuza. The Western Cape has not had a chairperson since they kicked out Marius Fransman in 2016. The Northwest has also been without a chairperson, and the Free State Provincial ANC leadership under Sam Mashinini, one of the suspended Secretary General Isbahashile's strongest supporters, was recently disbanded and replaced with an interim team led by Mkolisi Dukwana. Thank you so much, Dr. Masoga, for your time.